we were just discussing possible motives in the family. I suspect that Harlan has told you much unfiltered truth about each of them. And a little bird has told me, how shall I put this delicately? You have a regurgitative reaction to Miss Truden.
Who told you that?
Is it true?
Yes.
Oh.
It's something I've had since I was a kid. It's a physical thing that just the thought of lying, yeah, it makes me puke.
Really? Is Richard having an affair?
Why do men instinctively pull at loose threads on their parachutes?
What? Richard?
Mm-hmm.
An affair?
Yeah. A yes or no will do.
No.
Oh, shit! Oh, dear girl, I'm sorry. I assumed you were speaking figuratively.
You are listening to They Must Be Destroyed on Sight. The following podcast contains adult language, adult situations, and spoilers for the movies discussed occur often. You've been warned. Now, take it away, Dr. Rausch.
They must be destroyed on sight.
Hello and welcome back. It is They Must Be Destroyed on Sight, episode 227, and I'm your host, Lee, joylessly masturbating to pictures of dead deer Russell. And I am joined by my co-host, Daniel, the dumbest car chase of all time. Harper, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well. This is a prime number episode. I just checked.
Oh,
I always have to call that out whenever it happens.
Math nerd.
Yeah, and I was masturbating in the bathroom, but not to pictures of dead deer. So everything's fine.
I mean, that was just Nazi research, though. That wasn't
that
actual.
was I was gotta go check out the Nazis. That's how it goes. Yeah.
And of course, we're joined by our co-host Lee. I'm not eating one iota of shit. Hardy, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't know what I'm eating, but it's definitely not that.
Okay, good. Because that would have been a kink I don't know about at this point. So
I don't think I even want to try that one.
No, that would be a surprise. And you're bringing on a friend tonight as a co-host, Sam. A regurgitative reaction to mistruths. How are you doing, ma'am?
Oh, very good. Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you here.
She can lie. Just so we make that clear, she can lie.
Okay.
I'm like, why did you have me on the show?
So we're just going to get into it here. We have some listener feedback here, Daniel, that we should get out of the way really quick, or we'll try to get out of the way really quick. It's big.
It sounds like it's not a really quick, but okay, we'll go. Yeah.
Okay, so on our episode 186, The Bermuda Depths on YouTube, someone called Chris6 says, you guys totally missed this film. It's a love story. You've got a woman who's too vain to be with any man who is an extension of this it's all about me mentality, cheats death and spends centuries sinking ships and drowning men who fall for her, falls in love with this troubled college dropout who's been in and out of therapist chairs since he was a child. How do we know she falls for him? Because she saves his life twice. The kind of guy most women are weary of, this woman who find all men inferior falls for. That's the beauty of the story. The turtle is a prop. Her ability to change forms and still bleed when speared, etc., is minutia viewers aren't supposed to spend time dwelling over. Just like Raiders of the Lost Ark, You're not supposed to wonder where the boulder that's too big to fit in the passageway came from, or how it was able to roll down a passageway that's too narrow for any of it to fit in. You just eat your popcorn and watch Indy try to escape. This movie is surely not a classic, but your analysis is stuck in the weeds and you miss the forest completely. It makes me wonder what you think about every superhero movie ever made. Oh, we have some opinions on superhero movies, by the way.
I have no feelings about superhero movies at all.
I feel like I should start putting our fucking cape shit on YouTube. Just see if he comes in on that. You must find them all dumber than hell because they also spin reality far more than this film does. Even intellectually powerful films like Minority Report, that really super smart fucking sci-fi film, Minority Report.
It was Roger Ebert's top movie of the year, 2002, and we know how we feel about that. So
You have major flaws that would ruin them under the kind of microscope you guys are placing Bermuda Depths under. Haha, good lord. And he says also, continuing, he made a second comment here. In other words, if DiCaprio had been a Duke in Titanic, the love story would have been bland since the woman would have had too much in common with the man. What made the connection click was the differences between them that should have kept them apart. Their feelings broke through those barriers. That's what the Bermuda Depths is about. A love so strong it broke through this woman's vanity and broke through her eternal deal with the devil. What's so special about Magnus Dens, a troubled dude who can't finish college? Nothing. That's what makes her falling for him so touching. I realize this is Mars versus Venus thing and men's struggle with romance, but I'm a dude myself and see the love story in this film as plain as day. And most people who talk about watching this film as a child come away with the same take. That's not a turtle movie as expected, but a romance. I don't even know where to begin with this fucker.
I have virtually no memory of this film at this point. I know I watched it. I know we talked about it. A lot of times we kind of blow through these. Fine. I don't know.
You know what? I actually re-listened to our episode so I could respond to this stupid fuck.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't. You didn't tell me that I was going to be graded on episode 186. I apologize. Well, that wasn't a prime number, so I'm not required to remember.
Fucking Christ. So I re-listened to our episode, and this guy really read into our review more than he should have, because we were just kind of like, yeah, there's some funny stuff here. It's kind of okay. It doesn't really come together. We didn't have any sort of deep analysis. We were just kind of talking about stuff about it that amused us and cracked some jokes about it. But this guy kind of thinks like we're totally dismissing this film because it's unrealistic and shit like that. Like,
yeah, that sounds exactly like us.
Yeah,
being unable to analyze the giant turtle movie because it lacks verisimilitude. Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting though, because like a lot of times too with movies, there's always different interpretations about it. And this person is literally like, "This is the interpretation you're going to have, and it's the only one you can have." And this sounds
like it's his favorite movie, and he found our last episode and went, "You guys didn't get it at all. Don't you understand?"
I mean, he
pushes his glasses up on his face.
If I can just put a little piece in there.
Go ahead, Sam.
Just to play the devil's advocate, what if you guys are 100% wrong? You should completely rewatch the movie, and it will change your life on romance fucking movies. Like, that's the other thing, right? Is like, maybe you gotta rewatch it, and you'll be like, this is a life changer, guys. Like, this is romantic as fuck. Like,
well,
sorry, can we swear on this?
Yes.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Oh, please, fuck you.
Okay, yeah. What's that movie with the dude and it's The Notebook? What if it's the new Notebook, the turtle movie? And you guys just didn't read into that. I'm sorry, but like, you gotta give this guy a chance. Like,
you're right. We're
you're being too hard on them. Okay.
We're overly dismissive of this person who,
Yeah, no. Okay, I've watched the Bermuda Depths 3 times in my life.
So you're proficient. Okay.
Yeah, and it is, and I have actually seen The Notebook. It's definitely better than the fucking Notebook. Let's get that out of the fucking
But is it a better romance than The Notebook, my friend?
But have you seen The Notebook 3 times?
No. Oh, so I fucked up.
It doesn't have soaking wet Rachel McAdams, because it does not do as well in the soaking wet Rachel McAdams, which The Notebook does.
I mean, Bermuda Depths has soaking wet Carl Weathers. So
I don't know. I feel like the Notebook is more of like a rainy day scene, and Bermuda, like just in the name, I've never seen the movie personally, but I just want to say that sounds like a fucking ocean, Daniel. So like more water equals better.
Yeah, well, Life is better down where it's wetter under the sea.
Can I just say I've seen neither of these movies?
You've never seen The Notebook?
No.
Oh god, I've seen it once. I have really bad knowledge on either. I've never seen Bermuda Triangle, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. and for the record, this guy commenting, we sort of recommended the film. We said it was like, you should watch it. It's weird. It doesn't come together, like the story elements and shit. It's just like it really drops the ball on certain things that you kind of want. Like you want more fucking giant turtle shit because the giant turtle looks great.
Yeah.
And I mean, we weren't seriously going like, oh, this movie is just trash because the heart that this fucking sociopath carved on this turtle as a child didn't actually, it didn't grow the way it should have when the turtle grew up to this giant fucking turtle. We weren't being serious, dude. We weren't trashing on your childhood fucking love of this film, which is apparently what's happening here because he mentions that quite,
No,
specifically.
You don't understand.
It's his parents' love story. Like, guys, like, chill. Okay, be easy, okay? It's his parents' love story, and I need you guys to be a little bit more sensitive to that, okay?
His mom was a mermaid, and his dad was a douchebag.
Okay, yeah. So I just need you guys to be a little sensitive. All right? I appreciate it.
Like I really hate when people send us messages and like, this is my favorite movie and you shit on it. Like, I never want to be that guy, but also like, if it wasn't a good movie, it's not a good movie. It's fine. I also like things that I don't. That happens.
Daniel, I just think you need to open your mind a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. Don't spend enough time listening to people I disagree with. That's kind of my problem in general.
Yeah, that's not a thing you do at all.
Isn't that like 99% of like your job or your life is just listening to people you disagree with?
We'll get to that in the recommendations at the end.
Yeah, but there you go. Like, dude, you took our review far too serious. Like I actually said I liked the film and recommended it, and Daniel was like, yeah, okay, sure. I mean, I'm sorry we didn't give your turtle movie a blowjob. That's
that's what I needed.
I do really like turtles as well. Like you should. Turtles are good. Thumbs up from me. I'm a big fan of turtles.
Yeah. So we can move on from that to what we've watched in the last little while. So I'll throw over to you first. Danny, do you have anything other than WandaVision that we agreed we're not going to talk about? Because
the only thing I've really been watching, I've been watching WandaVision, and my wife and I are caught up. But I think since Lady Lee is also watching these, I think we're going to have to hold off until
I catch up.
He's either not here or has caught up. So
because it takes some turns.
Yeah, you really don't want us to talk about it if you haven't caught up.
No, I really want to see it. I'm actually really excited. I'm enjoying the beginning. I can see how there's a little bit of foreshadowing going on within the first 2 episodes. So I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's a little bit of
just a little bit.
A tiny bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. So Lee, anything you've been watching you want to talk about?
I watched the original Muppet movie from 1979, and I watched the Muppet Treasure Island. I forgot how much I love these movies. That's why I knew the Frank Oz question. But I love these movies just because they're so they're visually pleasing to look at. Like, they're just a lot of fun with all the the puppetry and stuff, and also just the just like the one-liners and the puns. They're just the most exaggerated, hilarious things. Like, I fall in love with these movies every time. Like, they're just such feel-good movies.
You know what?
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about, like, when you were talking about the Muppets or whatever, I think I was thinking about I'm terrible with Sesame Street, with, like, Muppet movies, all that stuff, because Muppets generally creep me out. Like, Fraggle Rock, like, no thanks. I'm just, like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's just, like, it's, ugh.
I had a terrible childhood.
I did, yeah. My parents didn't actually, like, really love me. We watched a lot of the news. That was it. My kid is obsessed with the
I grew up watching Ronald Reagan, and therefore I cannot get into the Muppets.
Yeah. I just can't do it. What's the puppet that's in the garbage can? Oscar, yeah, and it's his world. My kid fucking loves that movie. I've seen it so many times, actually.
Yeah. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. If you like the other one, yeah, try the film. So.
But Lady Lee, have you ever watched The Muppets Christmas Carol with Michael Caine?
1,001 times. It's my favorite Christmas movie. It's
that's
one of
a good
my
one.
favorite movies in general. I will watch it all year round. I sing all the songs. I think like you want to bring me back to like my childhood in general. That is the movie. That is the one that is like attached to my heart.
Didn't get paid quite as much as Jaws for the Revenge, but I did pretty well with it. All I had to do was talk to a bunch of people with the fucking hands of some puppets fucking assholes. That's all I had to do.
I thought they were real. I thought they were alive.
Yeah.
My wife has been watching Dinosaurs. The old,
Yes!
Oh, that show is dark.
That is a much better show. Like that is, if all you remember of that show is Not the Mama and the Frying Pan, that show is like legitimately brilliant.
They all get killed by an asteroid in the end.
At the end, it's the extinction of all dinosaur kind. Like that's the series finale. Yes,
It's brilliant. Yeah. I just started watching it again. I remember watching it as a kid, and I'm watching it as an adult, and I'm like, now I understand what's going on.
Imagine if you did an Into the Flintstones where they were the Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnon like bred them out in the last episode or something like that. Like
if it was like white genocide, but it was the Flintstones.
They brought up postpartum too on the second episode, which I thought was really
no. There's a ton of it's a deeply political show. Yeah, no, it's
really well done. Like it's not even that much talked about, and this is like something I watched as a kid, and they were talking about like postpartum.
Henson. Also Jim Henson. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're a big Jim Henson house here, so you can't go wrong with Jim Henson as far as we're concerned.
Sam, do you have anything you've watched lately you want to talk about other than Knives Out?
Well, like I've been watching a couple things. Like I've been watching some series, but no, I like mainly what's stuck in my head right now is that you just did a Michael Caine impression, and all I can think about is it looks like a baby's arm holding an apple. That's the only thing I can think about the powers. I don't know why. That was actually something I wrote because Leah and I were playing a game earlier, and that was one of the comments I wrote in there. Didn't get chosen, but I thought it was pretty solid. No, but I've been watching. I'm wanting to watch Viking season 5, so I've been rewatching it. But if you like Vikings, but if you also like, kind of more of the humor, like if you've seen Norseman, that show is so funny.
I've seen some episodes of that. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It kills me. I don't know. The one girl, she's just like she goes like into Wessex or whatever, and she's doing the raping and pillaging, and she comes back with like a necklace of like dried dicks, and it's like and they're like, prove your worth, and she's just grabs some dude and starts writing, but I'm like, oh my god, this is so funny. It's fucked. Like, I mean, period. Like, you don't want assault on either side, I guess, to be politically correct, but it's actually a hilarious show. So if you guys get a chance to check it out, it's pretty funny. Do it.
The one thing I'll mention is Willy's Wonderland from this year. It's the new Nicolas Cage. It's the new Nicolas Cage movie. They're kind of banking off his performance in Mandy, where he was, like a total badass. So he's kind of like the silent badass in this, and it's also sort of a takeoff on. There's a video game where it's like it's like a Chuck E. Cheese. I think it's like Friday Night at Freddy's or something like that. It's called, where it's like you're supposed to be a security guard in this fucking Chuck E. Cheese like place with animatronic characters, and they come to life and like murder people and shit.
Oh,
so So it's kind of a takeoff on that, but it's not good. They're totally banking on Nicolas Cage's performance, and Nicolas Cage apparently. He came in, read the script, and it's like, I'm not saying any of these lines because he barely talks in the entire film. It's competently made, but it's just a shitty story. There's no suspense or anything like that. A movie where it's like animatronic monsters moving and stuff. You have a lot of opportunities to like really sort of dig into that. Are they moving? Are they not moving? You can build the suspense and then you can go to blood and gore if you want to or whatever. But this movie just does the blood and gore. It's like, Nicolas Cage did that in the last half of Mandy. He can do it throughout this entire movie. It'll be fine. And it's not all that good. And there's like all these throwaway teenage characters. There's a female hero who doesn't get to do anything heroic. They just kind of like wedge her in. She's inconsequential to the plot totally. Like, they didn't even need to be in this film. Like, it could have been just Nicolas Cage in his fucking Chuck E. Cheese place overnight, fucking with these fucking animatronic things. It's really bad. It's not good at all. It was like just a total fucking letdown. So,
you know, I was reading this thing on Nicolas Cage, and it was like, you know, because he takes like really he can be really absurd in movies. I haven't seen the movie you're talking about, but like, did you say Night at Freddy's? So I've heard of the games or whatever, and I you know, it's a pretty popular game. But I was reading an article on Nicolas Cage, and it was talking about why he was so different than other actors and stuff. And like, I enjoy watching Nicolas Cage, but he's also super absurd in his acting, and I guess like it's completely on purpose. So, and it's an interesting like topic actually, because it's like so many movies, TV shows, all that, they go for very realistic, dramatic acting. Meanwhile, he's like, it's acting. I'm going to be absurd. I'm going to be out there. It's not going to be realistic. And I find that's a really interesting, if that is like true, like it's an interesting take on it, that you're going to be completely absurd and not do anything realistic compared to, like, do you see where I'm getting with that? I thought it was an interesting take on it.
Well, so, I mean, Cage, here's the thing, like he can do like serious, like he can like he can pull it back and go really quiet and serious and just like fucking act up a storm as like, you know. Yeah,
I like that. I don't know if maybe you guys liked it, but like Lord of War, I was always a big fan of that movie.
I like that movie. Yeah,
Lord of War.
I was a big fan of
it has a fantastic soundtrack to Lord of War. Like it's a great soundtrack. But yeah, no, I found that he was realistic in that movie. But I find that in most, even National Treasure, I really enjoyed those ones. Those were like just, they're all around enjoyable movies, you know. But I feel like for him to go completely absurd, the one I really want to watch is the one where he's the dad and they go after, they're trying to kill their kids.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I want to see that. I haven't seen it. I really do want to see it.
That's actually not bad, that movie.
Yeah, I want to see that one. I mean, since that article, I wish I could have a date and a time of when I read that article, because then you know how relevant it is. But I found that's a really interesting choice to take as an actor.
I think it's pretty relevant considering like the last few years, especially Cage. So he had problems with the IRS. He had a manager or whatever who basically took all of his money and left him bankrupt, essentially. So that's why he takes every fucking movie that's passed across his desk, basically. Yeah. And the thing with Cage is, I think, like a lot of people shit on him, I think he's actually a fucking great actor.
I enjoy him. I do.
And I think the biggest problem is he rarely actually sleepwalks through a film. He usually gives 130% every time. And usually the problem is he's working with like these lower budget directors and filmmakers and stuff who aren't all that good, and they don't know how to rein them in. And that's the biggest problem. Like if you let Nicolas Cage run your fucking movie, then it's probably going to be a bad movie. But if you're somebody who's going to like
Nicolas Cage run your movie, he will ruin your movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he will put the I in run and ruin your movie.
But if you're like a dictator on the fucking set, or you're just,
or if you're Werner Herzog.
Yeah, or if you know,
or if you're the Coen brothers.
Yeah, if you're weird, or if you're obtuse or whatever, like if you can get
or
to
Ridley
a vibe.
Scott, Matchstick Men was really good.
Matchstick Men's great. If you can get with Nicolas Cage's vibe and know how to use him in a film, you can make a great movie with him, no matter if it's a fucking $50,000 piece of shit or if it's like a $30 million movie, right?
So you're saying like a Short Leash with him?
Yeah, or
if you just lean into it, like Face Off. Face Off is amazing.
I could see something with a Short Leash, like a movie called The Short Leash, starring Nicolas Cage. It's fucking amazing.
Where Nicolas Cage plays a dog the entire movie, and he's just on a leash.
Oh my god! Okay, speaking of dogs and humans,
Nicolas Cage is the gimp in Pulp Fiction. No.
Have you guys seen that show, the TV show Wilfred with Elijah? I think it wasn't Elijah Wood, but it's Elijah Wood, and it's he was in maybe I'm totally getting him confused, but it's Wilfred, and there's the guy that plays the dog.
Yeah, the Australian and the US version, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right.
But the dog stays the same. The guy who plays the dog is the same, and I feel super like an asshole for not knowing his name, because I don't know names from movie stars or whatever. I'm just very obsolete in that sense. But I think he's the original for the English version. I think that he's also in Idiot Abroad which is an amazing show. But Wilfred, I fucking love that, where he's the actual dog and he's talking to him and he's just like hitting big bong rips and stuff. And he's just so funny because Elijah Wood's super suicidal and this dog person just saves him from suicide. And it's actually a really good story. He's hallucinating, I think, the whole time, but it's still good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, right on. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to play a podcast promo and some music, and we're going to come back and talk about Knives Out.
Broadcasting from the cursed earth, the Psychosemanticast.
Let us face, without panic, the reality of our time. The fact that atom bombs may someday be dropped on our cities. And let us prepare for survival by understanding the weapon that threatens us.
To have an ignorant, thin-skinned megalomaniac who sends off Twitters at 3 a.m. if somebody angered him.
Neo-Nazis turning up in Washington, D.C. to have a rally saying Heil Trump.
We talk about politics.
I knew I couldn't trust you corporate greaseballs.
We talk about movies.
You can't come down here and arrest people just because of what they look like. Are you crazy? But that's police harassment.
We talk about political movies.
We're in trouble. The whole world's in trouble. They're all around us and we never knew it. You can only see them with these special glasses.
The Psychosemanticast.
Okay, Knives Out from 2019.
I'm Detective Lieutenant Elliott, and this is Trooper Wagner. We just want to ask a few questions. We understand the night of his demise, the family have gathered to celebrate your father's 85th birthday. How was it?
The party? Pre my dad's death? Oh, it was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to request that you all stay until the investigation is completed.
What? Can we ask why? Has something changed?
No.
No, it hasn't changed, or no, we can't ask.
I'm gonna live till I die.
You think one of his family killed? Is that what you're suggesting?
You all love twisting the knife into one another.
Up your ass.
Oh, very nice.
Matter of fact, eat shit. How's that? Eat shit. Eat shit. Eat shit.
Smug smile.
Definitely eat shit.
Gonna fly. I'll take a chance. For my numbers up, I'm gonna fill my cup. Gonna live.
You know something. Spill it.
I suspect foul play. I have eliminated no suspects.
I'm gonna
It's a twisted web. We are not finished untangling it, not yet.
What is this? CSI KFC?
So this is written, directed by Rian Johnson, starring, although I'd argue who it's actually starring here. The cast list is Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc, Chris Evans as Ransom Drysdale, Ana de Armas as Marta Cabrera, who is the real star of this, I think. His main character, at the very least. Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis as Linda Drysdale, Michael Shannon as Walt Thromby, Don Johnson as Richard Drysdale, Toni Collette as Joni Thromby, Lakeith Stanfield as Lieutenant Elliot. The reason for us doing this, Christopher Plummer, who just recently passed away, as Harlan Thromby. Just take a second here to say, his career spanned 7 decades. Most people can't fucking say that. Some of his best known roles: Captain Georg von Trapp in The Sound of Music, Rudyard Kipling in The Man Who Would Be King stands out for me. Mike Wallace in The Insider. I think The Insider's great. We need to actually do that at some point.
Yeah, we should do that at some point. Yeah.
He's in a movie that was on one of my best of lists a couple years back, Remember, as the Nazi hunting movie. Yeah. Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, as the Shakespeare quoting Klingon, who says you haven't read Shakespeare till you've read it in the original Klingon, basically. And of course, he played Sherlock Holmes at one point in Murder by Decree.
Murder by Decree, yep. Mm-hmm.
And he played the Emperor of the Galaxy in Star Crash.
Yeah,
his career
clearly the one that he will be remembered for the rest of eternity. Yeah,
you gotta say, like, his career spanned 7 decades, and he went up and down. He went everywhere, like from the bottom of the barrel to the top of the heap. So, outside of his achievements of winning awards for movies, in 1968 he was invested as Companion of the Order of Canada, at the time among Canada's highest civilian honors. In 2001, he received the Governor General's Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Artistic Achievement, which is Canada's highest honor in the performing arts. He made an honorary Doctor of Fine Arts in New York's Juilliard School and has received honorary doctorates from the University of Toronto, Ryerson University, McGill University, University of Western Ontario, and University of Ottawa, and most recently University of Guelph. He was inducted to the American Theatre Hall of Fame in 1986 and to Canada's Walk of Fame in Toronto in 1998. And he was a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the Actors Branch from 2007.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite the achievement list.
Mm-hmm. And just a fucking great actor. And I mean, he's still like at his full power in this movie. I would argue, like he's
amazing. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He played someone who was 75 in this movie.
85.
85? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize he died at 91.
He was actually 6 years older than what he played.
Yeah, he doesn't look like, even in the movie, he doesn't look 85. Like, he does not look 85. He looks good. He looks really good for his age.
Well, yeah.
It's like the opposite of like the 30s movies.
Yeah, where everybody's 30 and they look like they're 55 and smoke all their lives.
I kept saying that one guy was like in his 40s and he was like in his 20s. Like, that was awesome.
Continuing with the cast here.
They no longer film movies completely enveloped in cigarette smoke. You know?
Yeah.
It was the haze. It was really the haze. So,
just continuing on here, rounding up the cast. Catherine Langford is Meg Thromby. Jaden Martell is Jacob Thromby, who is basically just a young Ben Shapiro here. Ricky Lindholm as Donna Thromby, and Edie Patterson as Fran. And we have a synopsis here. This is actually just the official Lionsgate synopsis that got posted on IMDb. When renowned crime novelist Harlan Thromby, Christopher Plummer, is found dead in his estate just after his 85th birthday, The inquisitive and debonair Detective Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig, is mysteriously enlisted to investigate. From Harlan's dysfunctional family to his devoted staff, Blanc sifts through the web of red herrings and self-serving lies to uncover the truth behind Harlan's untimely death. And yeah, that's one of the strings of the plot of this. Yeah. I'd argue the bigger... Go ahead. I'd argue the bigger plot is much more Marta's story and how she figures in this.
I feel like the big bait and switch of the movie, and I don't want to talk too much over the whole thing, but I feel like every piece of advertising and every piece of like thing that goes into the movie completely sidelines the Marta character. Mm-hmm. And there are two ways to read that. One is like fundamental racism, which is possible because we're talking about movie marketing and all that sort of thing. And also she's not a big star the way like everybody else in the movie is a big star.
Yeah.
The other is it's just a complete bait and switch. Like it's an intentional artistic choice that like you walk into the movie not understanding that this is going to be like your kind of key character. And that's the way I choose to view it. Honestly, it's like,
I hope so.
The point was, to sort of like downplay her so that you are amazed by her when she is kind of the center of the film. So
yeah. She becomes like the lead almost. Like
I feel like I was really entranced by her from the beginning though. Like I mean, the moment she vomited in front of me, I was like, yeah. No, but I actually
I'm not into that, but I was kind of into it. Like, if it's an Armis, sure, that's fine. Like
it's
you
like
can have her as the holographic Ryan Gosling's girlfriend, or you can have her as the vomiting maid. Yeah, nurse.
The vomiting maid. No, I found that like from the beginning when I saw her, I actually was completely enamored by her, just because of the fact of how she came out of it. Like, she was looking through the window, he snuck up on her and he's like, I heard this about you. And I just like how that progressed because it was like she was uncovering the plot as it happened unawares. You know what I mean? Like that's how they lead you into it. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought anyway. Sorry.
Yeah. That's great. Actually, we'll actually just jump to you, Sam. What are your sort of like general sort of overall thoughts on this film?
Like, I really enjoyed it. I actually wish that Harlan's mother had more of a play in this because I was highly suspect of that woman. All right. I'm highly suspect. I'm like, she knows shit. And she is way more like alert than what we're letting on. But I
love that bit at the end. I love that bit when like everybody gets fucked over and she just goes,
like she's in on it all the time. She's
she knows what's going on. She knows what's going on. Yeah.
Like, she's like, because Harlan, they're celebrating his 85th birthday, so how old is his mom? She was probably anywhere from 17 plus having
She's got to be at least 100. She's like 100.
So let's say she's like 102 at the minimum. Mm-hmm. All right, 102 at the minimum. Like my great grandmother personally is turning 102 in April.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's lived in her house. She's lived in the same house for 6 years. So when I saw that woman, I was extremely suspected of her because I know my grandmother and she understands everything I say to her. And I was like, she fucking did it. She murdered herself. I'm I'm just that person. If it comes on to like a murder mystery, I'm like, this is it, blah, blah, blah. But like when it comes on to Marta, though, I have to say I was completely enamored by her story. I think I was really angry with some of the choices the other characters made regarding her. I was like, Marta, show no mercy to that bitch because like she ratted you out. So I just no, I really enjoyed her character, and I think that I enjoyed her from the beginning. So I think that she was just somebody that came off as very genuine. I don't know. I think that's a character I'm attracted to, though. So
yeah, you were from the beginning.
Yeah.
So funny thing watching the movie with her is because I've seen it before, and this is the first time she's seen it. And the whole time I'm watching the movie, she's like, "Do they do this now? Is it her? What about this? Is this what's happening?" And I just kind of look at her. I'm like, "I'm not telling you. You have to watch it. Like, I need to know." Like just losing your mind on it.
But I found that like I don't know, like people that are like me and always want to figure something out. I feel like this is the movie where you're going to be like, oh, it's this, and I feel like there's actually multiple plot lines that can come about.
Yeah.
But I have to say I was very satisfied with the ending. I was just like, it did take a turn, and like the twists that come with it, like I have to say that there was a twist, because I feel like I can figure out twists pretty well, and I was really happy with this. But the comedy relief in it was subtle, but it was very good. I really enjoyed the comedy in this. Oh my god, the blade at the end, like repeatedly stabbing, and he's just like squeak squeak, and he's like, oh, it's a fucking prop. Like honestly, that killed me. Oh, that killed me totally. So yeah.
Lady Lee.
As you know, this was like, well, you guys know, this was my my top 10 first watches for 2020. So I was from the beginning, I was obsessed with this movie. I find all the actors were just so well done. Like every one of them had their own characteristics, and you could really tell. First of all, I want to say Toni Collette, she's Australian, and she always comes up with this American accent. And every time I see her, I'm like, there's no way you're Australian. There's no way you have an Australian accent. But I've watched I've watched a few movies with her where I've watched behind the scenes.
Have you seen Hereditary?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh,
I've been wanting to watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Watch her in that. She's fucking amazing anyway. But she's fucking amazing in that film.
I love her as an actor. Like,
she was in a TV show where she played somebody who had a multiple personality disorder.
Yes. Whatever. States of States of whatever. I can't remember the name, but yeah.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
She did such a good job,
and she just played this multitude of characters. I really enjoy her.
I think she's very.
She has like such a unique look to her, and I really like it.
She has a big smile. I love it.
Does yeah.
She's a very multi-talented actress.
She is.
I love her. When she was on the movie, I loved how she played like the leftist who really didn't know her facts.
She's Gwyneth Paltrow in this movie. Like, I mean,
Oh, it's all about the goop.
Yeah, so I loved her. She played the character really well. I love that you really built relationships with all of the characters. Like the one guy who is the part of like the writing.
You mean Michael Shannon as the son who is Walt, who is just like given the. He was given care of his dad's books, basically. Like,
you have that relationship with him. Like you build that relationship with him where you really do hate him. Like you hate him for the fact that he seems like sleazy from the get go. Like the fact that his son is like a neo-Nazi, like right there.
The masturbating Nazi.
Yeah. And then the wife is kind of like this ditzy, like I love that actress too. I think she's hilarious, but she's just this ditzy, like, oh, well, I'm the far right. And again, I really don't know my information and my facts, but I know that I'm not racist, but.
There's a lot of I'm not racist, but people.
Yeah. She really is. She's like, don't let Mexicans in, but then the other one's like, oh, what if the Swiss rampaged like the streets? Like, It was such a well-made movie. Like, you really built relationships with all of the characters. You had feelings about them all. You were like thinking, there was times too where you're kind of thinking, well, maybe. And then when they said about Marta, your heart kind of broke. Like the whole time you're just hoping, you're like, no, it can't be. Like, get away with this murder. Please get away with this murder. You're like Daniel Craig, don't figure it out. Like, don't figure it out. And then at the end, when everything just unfolds, like, my goodness, was it ever this like feel good moment? Like even when Chris Evans comes out and tries to murder her, like what a comical, fucking amazing ending. It was a great ending. Yeah.
It was just such a perfect way.
Can I go back to Walt though?
Yeah.
Oh, that character Walt, man,
creepy.
Walt, despair. Honestly, like when I saw him, I was like total disparity. Yeah, like because I mean, his dad gives him like this business to control, but he's like, control my dream, and you can tell that Walt, when he was a wee boy, he had this idea that he was going to be a great writer like his father, but he ends up managing his father's books, and I feel like Walt has some like repressed like ambitions. That's how I felt from Walt.
Oh no, he is totally repressed and destroyed, right? Because I mean he's not a fucking Nazi, but his kid is an obvious fucking Nazi, and he's out smoking cigars with his fucking kid on the porch.
Yeah, and he's not even facing the same direction as his kid.
No.
Like they're not bonding by any means.
Oh my god, what's the other character's name? I can't remember her. She was the daughter.
Meg.
Not Meg, the daughter of the guy who died. She shows I'm good at names I am tonight. Holy jeez. The actress's name. She was in.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. Thank you.
Curtis, yeah.
Sorry, I am blanking on names tonight. But anyways, Jamie Lee Curtis kind of had like a less of a role in this one, but I did enjoy her because I did find that at the beginning you really kind of hated her, but as you saw her progress and like playing these games and kind of doing stuff, you kind of gained more of a little bit of a love for her.
Especially like the whole movie through. Jamie Lee Curtis, like I feel like she was just kind of like that. She was the ideal daughter, and like she had everything going. She's like, I understand this relationship I have with my father. She's like, I understand this relationship I have with my family. Blah blah blah. But she's like, she was always like through the whole movie. She was talking about my dad. It's these games with my dad. Yeah. And he's like, and you got to figure it out. And I feel like the whole like writing in lemon and heating it with a lighter at the end really like reinforced her relationship with it. Her dad was like, I love you, and this is for your own good. Yeah. And I really actually liked that. Because I found that it did do kind of like a big circle where it was like, this is for your best interest, and like your husband's being a dick and cheating on you, and he even did it in a whole puzzle in the way she would expect. And I thought that was
Invisible
cool.
Ink, yeah,
I thought that was a cool like workaround where she was talking about it from the beginning, and it kind of came back that way.
She was really good. I really enjoyed her. I really appreciate the fact that when you look at her, she looks like an older lady.
Yeah, she's so beautiful.
She is. And like you see all the wrinkles on her, and I honestly think that's amazing.
You can see the wrinkles on everybody in this because even though it's like made to look like it's shot on film, it's all digital, so you can still see all the details of everybody's face.
But it's so nice though. Like you see how many she has because you see so many other celebrities in general who are like seriously, their faces are so stretched back. But I find Jamie Lee Curtis, she looks a lot more natural, and I honestly, I just appreciate that. I think it looks more beautiful than it does like the whole fake
she
face.
Is 62. She's 62.
Yeah.
You know what? I think with anybody going through life, I think the more laugh lines you have, the more beautiful it is. Though, just to be honest,
You look natural too. Like
it's a good look. Yeah, laugh lines are good.
I really appreciate that was there. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if that's actually her. Either way, I thought it was beautiful. I loved it. I kind of got obsessed with it. Going back to the movie, though.
She had great glasses, too, though.
She did.
She did have great glasses in this movie. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was like almost like a very mature cat eye, very little. But the angle on it, I was like, oh, that's really nice. I thought it was a very modern cat eye glass. So I wear glasses. So
I really loved it. That's all I got to say. I really loved it. The plot line was amazing. The acting was amazing. Everything about it was phenomenal. I highly recommend this movie. Like I could say 1,000 times over. I already said a bunch of stuff previous to this, us watching it. It's just so good.
Daniel.
I mean, this was the last movie I saw in a theater. Believe it or not, because a few months later, suddenly all the theaters shut down. But maybe the last movie I ever see in a movie theater. We'll see. But if so, then it was a good way to go out. It's entirely possible. I love the structure of this. I love the cleverness of the writing. I love how it introduces you to all the characters through the interrogations at the beginning, and it kind of feels like at first you're kind of all right, we're kind of getting set up, or it kind of feels like it's tuning its instruments at first. And then Marta shows up and she gets to have the real conversation, like kind of the more detailed conversation. And then suddenly the plot really starts in motion. And then once you kind of understand what actually happened in that bedroom, in the attic, suddenly the stakes are raised. Like suddenly you realize like what's really happening. And she was actually there the whole time. He killed himself, but ultimately she has to, like, she's both completely blameless and kind of being forced into this kind of situation where she has to sort of hide from the cops, etc. Regardless. And so there's a really interesting kind of cat and mouse kind of thing going on here. And you always get the sense that like Benoit Blanc knows more. Like it's revealed at the end, like, oh yeah, I saw that piece. I saw that blood on your shoe at the beginning. Like,
no, he totally Sherlock Holmes the whole thing, right?
I knew you were there the whole time.
So I know, like, so Marta, that's the big complex with her is that she's not blameless, in my opinion. It's like you can't be like. She did a medical error, and I come from a pharmacy background, actually. So when it comes to medical errors, like they're extremely serious. They can be extremely deadly in one like swoop of a pen, in one wrong dispense of a medication. So that's what really actually got me in this movie with Marta was like, she is not blameless. It would have been manslaughter for her. And I had a hard time with that because as soon as like when we saw the bottles, I was like, oh, it's ketorolac. It's an NSAID, right? So it's a non-steroidal analgesic, like very much like ibuprofen or something. And so as soon as like she said morphine, I was like, oh God. And you could see the tears in her eyes in the movie. She knew she fucked up as a character, right? Like she knew she fucked up because that was a death sentence for her patient. So as a nurse, like I'm sure she felt she's not blameless. She did a medical error. And I think that that's the real tug of war with her character is that she's so genuine. You know, she never would have meant to do it. Yeah. But if the situation was right, she killed her patient. And that's the tug of war with her.
But of course, in the end, she didn't kill the patient.
She didn't. No, she didn't.
In the end, if she had checked the bottles, if she had checked the labels,
she would have killed him. Absolutely,
she would have killed him.
And then she would have been charged with murder. No, 100%. It's a very weird catch-22. But even just coming from like real world medical standpoint, like she would have killed her patient, and you can see how like her genuine fear of she was the murderer was 100% real to her. That's a tear with her character before you find out the bigger plot, right? So
no, I don't disagree with that. I was kind of more making the larger point, but yeah, I mean, I guess blameless is the wrong word, but
I sorry, I always get like really weird about pharmacy stuff because
it's good.
It's like, and from personal experience, like I've seen it with like warfarin and stuff like that. I used to dispense medications, and you're like, this could be it, right? If you mess this one up, oh fuck! Like, hope you have insurance, right? So,
anything else, Daniel? Or
sorry,
no. I mean, excuse me. Yeah, no. You do kind of follow the, this kind of storyline. You follow the plot, the kind of intersecting plots. You get the, and it gives you both the portrait of these kind of characters and then the kind of larger sociological, the larger sociopolitical story of you've got this person who is like a servant in this house. I mean, she's a nurse, but she's kind of just hanging out with Harlan. But she's also like someone that, like, literally at one point, like one of the characters is like handing her a plate to go put it in, because one of my favorite running gags is that they all none of them know where she's from. No, she's El Salvadoran. No, she's Brazilian. No,
Ecuadorian. Yeah, it's like Uruguay. It's like no.
I was voted out for letting you to the funeral, and somebody else said that. Like that kind of stuff, like just small details like that.
Yeah, they're all so like not the entire family is not racist dicks, but most of them are. They're very.
But what happens? What happens when like the money isn't there anymore? When they can't be kind to her anymore? They form ranks, and they're like, no.
All of them turn on her except for the daughter, who is
even the daughter.
Well, I mean, she is bullied into doing it, though.
Well, but she does it.
Yeah.
She does it. Yes, but
like don't like like she. It's like, no, I'll take care of you, and it's like, well, no, I already fucked you over. It's like,
I mean, she is bullied like by her family to like
that is true.
Like it's
the whole family dies, like kind of staring at her. At that point.
I mean, it's still a terrible thing to do, but it's understandable why that character did it and why she's like destroyed by it afterwards. Where it's just like, I just did like the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
You saw it. You saw it on her face.
Nope, I don't care. No mercy. No mercy. Don't pick her. That's the boat I was in. That's why I said to Lee. No mercy.
Yeah, you had like completely conflicting thoughts with her. So I was like, no, she did it because her family. Like you saw her whole family just staring at her with the evilest eye. Like if looks could kill, and that was how many times over with those looks. And then the daughter like left in the situation of not knowing what to do.
I mean, she's not in the same position that all of her like uncles and aunts and mom and dad are. Like she has no real agency to like live her life independently at that point. Like she's still under basically their control to a certain degree. So, I mean, it's still a terrible decision, but it's an understandable decision from her standpoint, I think.
And school's expensive.
I think when you bring age into it, yes, I can be a little bit more sympathetic, but I'm not
student loan.
Yeah, she's a college student. I mean, she's like 21.
Yeah, you know what, Daniel? I think you're right. I'm back on the no mercy boat. Yeah,
but no, she's an incredibly privileged 21-year-old college student who has had everything paid for her and has probably never been independent in her life.
None of these people, like, they walk away in their like fancy cars with their fancy clothes, and they've got all their like, these people are gonna be fine. You know, they're not gonna have to be a short order cook. Nobody's gonna be a Walmart greeter at the end of this. You know? No, like, they've got the social capital. They're gonna figure it out.
Well, Chris Evans, when he gets out of jail, maybe.
Well, I mean, you know.
No, he's gonna end up getting married in jail. He's maybe one of those, you know,
mafia
just like yeah, like
husbands.
It's gonna be like a realty star, like my husband's in jail.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So for me, I sort of thought like, so while this is the way this movie's stylized, it's very much an entry into and both an homage to sort of, you know, the whole genre, like a specific part of the mystery genre. It's very much a throwback.
It's a Christie story.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, what I really appreciate about this film is it never feels unauthentic in a way some modern sort of set movie. Like you take a movie that is a throwback to a specific, like, you know, like Agatha Christie style mystery or something like that, but it's set in modern times and it feels a little unauthentic because, you know, they're playing some things up, they're winking at you while they're doing it. This movie never does that. Like, it's just a really well written, really well shot, really well performed modern version of one of those movies. And I think the best thing about this is that the performances, they keep you away from the red herring. Like like there's so many red herrings and stuff established at the front. So there's all these clues and there's all this misdirection, and the performances are so fucking good that keeps you fucking wondering, because you kind of get wrapped up in how all these actors are fucking performing. And I found that like I've basically watched this like 2.5 times, and like the first half time I fell asleep, and by the way, no fault of the pitcher. It was totally on me for being just a fucking stupid idiot and watching it at the exact wrong time. So I watched it once, fell asleep halfway through, watched another time, didn't really pick up much because I was just like out of it. So watching it this time, really appreciated that it kind of did everything right. Like it's got this perfect sort of balance of mystery, comedy. It's still got the darkness underneath. So, you know, even though there's some levity and stuff like that, it's got some really grim, dark ideas, and then also slips in this nice little political message about immigration and, you know, American exceptionalism and you know, inheritance of wealth and stuff like that. And
rich people.
Fucking rich people who at the end of the day find their, you know, like you said, Daniel, they're not walking away poor, but in a way they kind of find their fates sort of
like their reality tech.
Yeah, intertwined with this person who was just a healthcare worker for their dad. All of a sudden she's got this immigrant. All of a sudden has their fates in her hands, and it is
my favorite scene in the movie is Michael Shannon walking down that hallway when she's got all the papers in her hands, right? Went right after like the news truck is outside and she's trying to get to the meeting, and Michael Shannon comes up on that cane, and he's like, you know, we just want to help you, Marta. Like, we've got the resources to help you. We want to be here for you. We really want to support you, and we know about your mother. Like, look, it's okay. We understand. We just want to make sure nothing happens to her. And she goes like, what, so with your like money and your resources, you could hire a lawyer, and like you think it would be okay? Like, yeah, no, it would be fine if you just had, it's like, well, I've already got your money, so, everything's going to be fine.
I love how she flipped that from like, they're like, oh, well, we have resources. We have lawyers in New York and DC. And she's like, oh, you mean I have lawyers in New York and DC?
Mm-hmm.
I can solve that. And yeah, no, I totally agree. I love that. I think that was a really great line they put in there.
The menace that he has that whole time, like you really get the sense of the way he's gripping that cane.
Yeah,
like you almost get the sense he's about to like bash it into her skull. It was it's
a good turn, and it's a good piece of acting for Michael Shannon, because up until then he's presented as this like weak, meek guy who's crippled, but then the inner sort of like racism and hatred like comes out in that scene where he's trying to threaten her.
You go after the money. And that suddenly like any. Sorry, go ahead. What was that?
He's a weak, meek man again.
Mm-hmm.
Like he tries to look strong, and then he's weak and meek again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it kind of comes down to actually, like, besides Ransom, who knows everything that's going on, nobody else knows anything what's going on. So they actually have nothing on her besides her mother, and they constantly throw it in her face. That's the only thing that can go on is her mother and her family. So like the whole immigrant thing is the only thing they can go on because they know nothing different, and that's the only reason why Ransom is helping her, because he seems like he's actually helping her. He's not. He's the only one who doesn't throw that in her face.
Jan,
yeah,
so sad.
Yeah,
because I mean. So, like, the majority of this family are just racist assholes who tolerate Martha because at the time they thought they were getting the money. So, but I mean, like Daniel was saying, like where Don Johnson just like hands the plate off to her, they're dismissively racist of her too as the help. Even though they make these statements of like, oh no, you're part of the family and stuff like that. Like it's all bullshit.
Well, and even the nice, like, well-meaning liberal, kind of talking about, like, no, we need to understand the plight of, like, the poor people coming across the border. Here, take my plate. Like
I think that's actually some great foreshadowing, really, is that whole conversation that happened before that, was that they're having this discussion, and they invited Marta on there, who's from Ecuador, Brazil, Paraguay, wherever the fuck they think she's from, and it's so casually like where she's brought up, and it's always something different where she's brought up, but like that foreshadowing in that conversation is very good, because it's like, yeah, when it comes down to it, that's the one. They can't use her character against her. They have to use her family against her.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's a very cheap shot way out. And it just shows you how shallow these people really are.
I love
of course, who's the person that ultimately who ultimately saves her? It's the other help. It's the other servant. Like it's the other,
Fran.
It's Fran, who, you did this, no, Ransom did this. You could have saved us all some time. All right.
He did call, or made the help call him Hugh.
Right. No. It's a great moment, and it's a great reversal, but it's also come on. You could have been a little bit more clear. Hugh, Ransom.
How
Chris
they did
Evans.
it.
Chris Evans.
The writing. How? What name can we give him? You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dickhead Captain America is what we give him the name.
That's the most frustrating last words is you did it or Hugh did it. Like the most in vain last words a character could ever have.
it's a very murder mystery kind of thing to do, right? Like no, it wasn't Hugh, it was you. Yeah, no, it's great.
Oh, this reminds me. I was in a murder mystery play, and one of the lines where it kind of discovered who was the murderer, which, by the way, her name is Lee.
Wow.
Yeah. During the play, one of the characters who gets murdered says, "Carefully," and what he said was, "Carefully."
It's like did you guys ever play BioShock, where it's like what was that saying that they always had in it, and it's like the twist at the end. Would you kindly? Yeah. Would you kindly? Oh shit! Oh, it's all Lee's. Lee, you guys. both you guys are fucking murderers or something.
Yeah, I mean, once Lady Lee and I meet up, we're probably just going to go on a murder spree. But
God,
Bonnie Clyde style.
I hope so.
Yeah.
If I give you guys a Mars bar now, will you guys not murder me and you're fucking?
Oh no! I mean, you've been on the podcast, so you're safe from death at this point.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
It's like you and 5 other people at this point. So
That's
good.
it. Yeah. You've been on a prime numbered one too, so that means you get to commit a murder, and we won't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, guys.
I think I was on a prime number 1 too.
Oh,
yeah,
well, you are again, so you get double murder.
Yeah.
So
we're bonded. Officially.
So some things I just sort of like about this. I like
we
that.
Go all day about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just be brief about this, but I mean, I like that the set design on this is fucking like immaculate. Like it just reminds me of the best stuff from like 1960s and 1970s, like horror and mystery films. Like there's so much detail in the set design. From just like, you know, the fucking knife thrown to like photographs and stuff like that and pictures and they're like
if you have the DVD, if you have like the DVD or the Blu-ray and it comes with a little slip case that has like the chair with all the knives on it, and then you flip the case of the DVD backwards and you see like all the characters are on the back cover, and you cover it again, then all the knives point at Chris Evans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
nice.
Neat.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I saw it on Twitter or whatever, and it was like, you know, oh, look at the thing, you know, it's like, because it's like, oh, like it's a, you know, it's a cool little slipcase. You turn it around, go over, and then it's all like pointing right at his face, and it's like, oh yeah, nicely done there.
And I really like how Rian Johnson strings us along with this film, right? So it's a 2 hour like 10-minute movie or whatever.
Yeah.
So the first hour, it actually kind of wraps up the mystery in a way. Like it makes it feel like it wraps up the mystery, where it's like, okay, this is an episode of a really good like mystery series. You know, like it's like, you know, Benoit Blanc has found it out, and we know the background of Martha, and we know what happened, and then oh no, we got another hour, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of twists and turns, and it gets really good.
Well, it kind of starts the new mystery when like it's like, you know, who burned down the autopsy,
and it also becomes a you know, killer versus a detective movie in a way, you know, with Martha and Benoit Blanc, where it's like she's trying to like, you know, sabotage the shit he's doing. Benoit Blanc.
I
mean, I'm gonna fuck it up because I mean, Daniel Craig is like, his character is apparently intentionally trying to sound like Foghorn Leghorn anyways. So
I loved it.
I did love it. Yeah.
I loved his character so much. Like the accent sometimes sounded ridiculous, but I think that's why I loved it so much. Like it was a little bit far-fetched.
No, it's
and
the joke that I saw somebody joking around when this movie came out, and it was like, no, what we need is like a series of movies just starring Benoit Blanc. And he has a different accent and a new ridiculous accent.
He did a French accent in one of them.
Well, you see, you see him break the accent too, because he's in the car listening to a song on headphones, and he totally breaks the accent. And then all of a sudden, when something happens, he snaps right back into it because he's such a great actor as a character, right? Where he's done this many times, so it's like he's not doing the accent while he's singing, but as soon as shit happens.
I love the fact that all the movies I know him from are all action movies. Every single one of them are action movies. This is like a murder mystery where he's playing a detective, and it really shows me his versatility. It really goes to something entirely different. Like I'm a huge James Bond fan, so I am dedicated to watching all the James Bond movies like 1,000 times over. So for me to see Daniel Craig as James Bond and then Daniel Craig as like Benoit Blanc, it's like night and day. It's such a nice, refreshing take on him. Like it's just
what we need is a James Bond movie where Daniel Craig speaks with the Foghorn Leghorn accent.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I mean, I need that shaken, not stirred, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm here to seduce your lady friend in the gold plate.
It needs to be like a Never Say Never Again style movie where it's kind of like James Bond, where a lot of the James Bond aspect things, but it's not a James Bond movie. Do it that way. Take Daniel Craig, do that accent again. There you go.
He goes into deep self, is like, I would be partial to a dry martini, but I'd really like some of your alligator gumbo right now. Kind of thing. But I mean,
I just want to do all his lines. It's so like it's a donut. There's a hole in a donut.
Okay.
I love how long that part dragged on for, though. Like the whole
she
donut.
Was dying. She was dying. She's like, it was this. I'm like, just watch the movie.
Well, not just that.
The donut hole.
Like a donut with a donut hole, but it's not just
with a hole inside of it.
And you got 3 Canadians on this podcast, Daniel.
Yep.
And they're going to tell you right now a donut hole.
It's a fucking Timbit.
It's a Timbit. It ain't something. It's not a donut hole that you fit into a donut hole. It's a fucking Timbit. It's what it is.
It's a Timbit. They're delicious. You can get them in 24 packs. Mm-hmm. That's the only way to get them.
No, isn't it Tim Hortons in the States?
Yeah, the northern states.
Do they have Timbits there?
I don't know.
Do they have Timbits?
I've never heard the term Timbit. I mean, I've bought donut holes before, but they call them donut holes. They're just like fried dough. I mean,
excuse me, they're Timbits.
They're called Timbits up here, though.
Oh.
Daniel,
learn the language.
Daniel, do you understand? They literally punch the holes out of donuts and make them into Timbits. That's how it happens.
Yeah,
and they sell it for small children and dogs.
That's how Timbits are made.
Canadians never lie. Tim Hortons is a above board corporation that would never lie about the way things are done.
Exactly.
But not only that, Lee, it's a way of life. Like I wake up, I do go get my
Timbits down the street from me. I'll have to go and check and see.
Oh, you got to ask for the Timbits there, Daniel.
Get a 24 pack of Timbits.
Assorted Timbits.
No,
don't get the old fashioned.
No.
Old fashioned or
you know what's the best though is the sour cream glazed.
No birthday cake.
Oh no!
Look at that face!
You can get everything, Daniel. You can get every flavor of Timbit in one 24 pack.
Yeah, it's a 24 pack. You get all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said assorted. Just don't get old fashioned.
Don't get old fashioned. Yeah, exclude those. And you know what? I do that at Tim Hortons on Algonquin there, and they say we don't carry old fashioned. I'm like, because you're the cool Tim Hortons.
Old fashions are for dogs because there's literally no glaze or no sugar. So you can give them to your dog.
Yeah, I don't have a dog, but I don't want that. I go to that Tim Hortons. They don't even make them.
Now they're talking about Timbits. Let's go back to the movie.
But
also Gravity's Rainbow, because I love the line. Like, it's again one of my favorite lines in any movie is like it's Gravity's Rainbow.
Yes! Oh my God.
Gravity's Rainbow.
Oh, I've never read it. Neither have I. No one has.
No, yes. No.
As someone who went through a serious penchant phase and has read Gravity's Rainbow, that amused me to it because
just finishing up my thoughts here. Love Christopher Plummer's performance. And I love that he's a patriarch of a family that actually, like, even though he knows his family are a bunch of shitheads, he loves them, and he's actually trying to do the best for them. Like, a lot of times when you see these murder mysteries, it's always like the patriarch was a real dick and his family are dicks, and like they're more dickish because they actually kill him, so that's why you got to punish them or whatever. But here it's like he's trying to use his privilege to do a good thing. And
I loved the relationship he had with Marta too. I mean, just watching them play Go. You only get a few minutes of them together, but they play Go and they're like joking around. And it's like, what are you doing? What was that for? What was it? What is that? What is that? And
I love how Christopher Plummer.
I'm just trying to make the pretty pattern. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to make the pattern. It's like,
I love how he's a little kid and he cheats, and that's obviously a thing that's happened before.
Right,
they played Go many nights, and he's cheated like several times, and it's just a bonding thing for them.
And I love the thing.
Are you having sex with my father?
Are you pointing my father?
The thing that he has to throw at ransom is that Marta beats him at Go. Like, that's hilarious.
And then like Jamie Lee Curtis is like, Are you pointing my father? And then the little mini Ben Shapiro's like, you anchor baby. Like,
he's like, this is my moment. This is where I come to shine. Like,
he had small moments, but he made me laugh. He was a little weirdo kid, but he was good.
Speculated that kid was written into the movie specifically to represent all the Star Wars fans that hated The Last Jedi. So, you know.
Yeah. But did they always say that he was masturbating in the bathroom whenever it cut to that scene where he was like listening to Ransom and Harlan argue? Was it always masturbating, or was it something else each time? Because I thought that was hilarious.
It was masturbating.
Yeah, every single time. Everybody's like, no, he was masturbating in the bathroom on Twitter.
Because even after, at the end, Daniel Craig makes a comment. I can't remember what he says, but he references.
And they always go back to him in the bathroom.
It was the masturbating Nazi child.
Yeah.
Nazi child.
Yeah. They always bring that up. I thought that was funny.
The wordplay in that movie in general was good. Like we mentioned, how they never mentioned the same country once. It was never like something that was brought to focus, but if you paid attention, you heard it. And then the whole like, oh, I wanted you to come to the funeral, but I got outvoted. And the next person said the same thing. And you're like, hold on a second, how much do you actually care about her? Yeah, so that was kind of interesting as well, like just kind of seeing that part.
I did like the scene where Daniel Craig was just like, oh, it's muddy, don't walk through the path. And like Marta's just like backtracking, running back and forth. She's like, what? Sorry. And like just that was hilarious.
He's distracted talking with those two shit fucking police officers, and all that time Martha's like, I gotta get these fucking footprints.
Oh, yes, she's just like doing tracks, and
then the dogs come running through.
Yeah,
the lieutenant is fine. Lakeith Stanfield is like, actually, like, he seems like he's with it. He's just not like as good as Benoit Blanc. But like that state trooper is a complete dipshit.
Oh yeah.
He's actually just like a huge fan. He is the biggest fan, and he's like,
he gets so excited hearing like the whole plot. He's like, "Oh my god, this is like one of his books."
Well, like, I mean,
hold on. Be quiet. I need you to be quiet. We got to hear the ending.
Like, well, like with Cobra Kai, and how like anybody who's not actually directly involved in karate, everybody's just like outside of the karate group. It's just like, this is fucking ridiculous. That's how that agent is. He's just like, look, don't you guys see what's going on? Like, this is an incredible murder mystery. And like, he's just like, he's the outsider. And I found that was really funny with Cobra Kai, but kind of similar with this.
Yeah, the straighter cop, he's like, he's a bit more competent than the fucking dipshit, but he's also kind of enamored with Benoit Blanc because he knows his reputation, right? So he's like, he's expecting Benoit Blanc to come up with some shit. He's like, please wow me, give me some shit. And he's like, he's given a lot of chances. He's like, okay, are we going to get to something here soon? Like, is there something that's going to happen? And Benoit Blanc's like,
well,
I have no suspects right now, but I've not eliminated any of them as well. And it's like, I do declare that there's some weird things happening here, and we might want to check out the muddy path and the terrace up the building and see if anyone broke into the house. And it's just
we must investigate the semen scenes from the masturbating Nazi child.
The masturbating Nazi child is probably like the best line.
Well, and it's.
God, that made me cackle. Like,
and I love how they kept coming back to it. That's just even better. It's just like, no, I'm going to smash you in the face with this joke, and it's still funny. But I found that with the lieutenant, like, it's actually kind of funny because at the beginning of the movie, he's like, no, it's a suicide. Look at the blood splatter. Right? And like, when you go to the end, you're like, no, it was a suicide. Look at the blood splatter, Yeah. But Daniel Blanc is just like, no, wait, guys, there's a deeper story. And he was like, obviously he's right. But when it comes down to it, it was a suicide. Look at the blood splatter.
They got a lot of shit right. It's just like they didn't get in the right order, basically. They didn't know why.
You're not wrong. It was a suicide.
In the donut hole.
It was the Inception donut.
The donut.
Yeah, the Timbit
hole. The donut hole was actually a donut that had a hole of its own.
All these Timbits everywhere, guys. Like, the Inception Timbit.
With a Timbit a minute.
So I think
everybody's going to go buy Timbits tomorrow. That's the
I mean, you should. They're tasty.
Sorry,
but I think we're all pretty much unanimous that this is a really good film. and it's worth watching. And
yes,
it was super entertaining.
Go see it. Go watch it. Rent it. Buy it. Do whatever you need to do in order to attain it. Maybe give a handy to somebody. Go watch it. It is so good. I loved it.
I mean, it's rentable on Amazon. I mean, if your choice is give a handy for the movie, I mean, if you want to give a hand job, that's fine. I'm not going to say don't give a hand job, but probably worth it.
I mean,
rent it on Amazon. Yeah.
I mean, while you're watching it, just give your significant other a hand job or a fingering or whatever,
whoever. But it is on Canada Prime, so Canadian Prime. It is free on Canadian Prime. I know Thomas said he's going to watch it, but he has to rent it. So I know the Netherlands. Sorry, guys. I know there's like one of you that watches it. You're gonna have to pay to watch it.
To our Netherlands crowd.
I'll go with the release info here. I mean, there's a Lionsgate DVD and Blu-ray from 2017 or 2020, I believe, 2019, 2020, somewhere around there. It's on iTunes, it's on Google Play, it's on Fandango now, whatever the fuck that is. I still don't know what that is. Amazon Prime and Vudu. So I mean, there's nowhere you can't find it. Basically, it's everywhere.
Or if you know someone who owns a copy, give them a hand job and maybe they'll let you borrow their copy. That's
you as payment.
Do you know what? It gets a little complicated if it's family. So I mean, you should probably just ask if you could borrow it.
I mean, underage or we
have an asterisk on this.
Pornhub has cracked down on several of those things, but not all of them.
Not all of them.
Yeah. I think that it's a movie. I've only seen it once, but I'd imagine that with this kind of movie, this particular movie, that if you watched it a second time, that it would be enjoyable because
I've seen it several times.
Yeah, spotting those clues.
You will find more details the more you watch it.
Yeah, I like that.
The second time. Yeah.
I think that if I watched it a second time, that I would probably really enjoy it.
And paid attention without asking questions.
I just wanted to know.
And this movie did really well. $40 million budget, $311.4 million return on it. So there will be a sequel.
It made a few dollars.
If there's a sequel, does Harlan come back and then die again, or what's going on? That's inappropriate. I know.
I watched a prequel series.
I know. I'm sorry.
Too soon.
No, I just thought of that when I said it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be basically it's going to focus apparently on Benoit Blanc, his mysteries basically. So it's going to be a mystery series revolving around him. Although I will say it would be a mistake. You can make Daniel Craig the top star, sure, bill him first, but it would be better suited, I think, if he's the side character who sort of walks in and does his thing. Yeah. And make the story about the person who's involved in the case because it really works here, right?
No, I think that's the key. Yeah, no. I mean, I'd love to see him wander into other mystery genres. Like if he wanders into serial killer movie, or he wanders into a locked room mystery, or you can imagine because this is kind of that Manor House Agatha Christie story. If suddenly he's it's Seven, but Benoit Blanc is involved, and it's written by Rian Johnson. It appears that this man was trying to fuck another man with a dildo knife. This does not seem to be a thing that is a normal human being would do.
I hope that they either carry on the whole donut analogy or choose something extremely similar and carry it through whatever series that they do with this.
This is a double. It turns out this case was a double cheeseburger on top of the first
only food items. Yeah. It's
this case is twisted like a salted pretzel.
You could do a prequel, so it's a Nancy Drew type series. So it's him as a child,
when he's a teenager, in the 80s or whatever.
Or Veronica Mars style.
And he's just like completely isolated by all the other kids because they're like snitches get stitches, you know. And like
being like a bullied like kid in high school, walking around.
But he's snooping everyone's shit. Like he figures everyone out, right?
Yeah.
So
solves all the mysteries.
He's like, no, this story doesn't have not only 2 Timbits, but 4 Timbits.
Oh shit!
Like,
shit.
yeah, you know,
there's many holes in these donuts.
Mm-hmm.
While I was stuffed in the locker, you see, I overheard the mystery regarding the death of the principal.
The prequel we didn't know we needed. So.
Yeah. It was the quarterback of the football team. He was responsible all along.
A little bit of trivia here. So, despite playing his mother in the film, Kay Callan is 6 years and 27 days younger than Christopher Plummer was at the time. Plummer was born on the 13th of December 1929, and Callan was born on 9th January 1936. And one other here that I definitely want to point out because he's one of my favorite character actors, and he's one of the last one of those, oh, I know that guy kind of actors who's been in everything. E. Emmett Walsh. And if you've not seen him in Blood Simple, by the way, that's his fucking key fucking role, and that's a great fucking movie.
And we've done a podcast episode on that one, so go listen to that too.
Yeah, he replaced Ricky Jay, who I also love, who actually died during the production of this in 2018. A black and white photo of Jay is visible for a few seconds just before Walsh first appears on camera at 55:06 in the film.
So Walsh is somebody that I immediately recognized for sure. I don't know exactly what it was, but I know I've seen him in a few things. It might be more of like a TV series. I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't think I recognize the one that you've mentioned. I am Googling it because I'm like, where did I recognize? Because as soon as I saw him, I was like, I know I've seen him in something.
Blade Runner is one that people kind of know him from.
He's been in a lot of shit.
Yep.
Great fucking actor.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Good movie.
so Daniel, where are we going next? Are we going to go to the Dr. Clitterhouse film next?
Yeah, well, you can do that. Yeah, no, we decided to do this because Plummer died, and it was like, let's just do this. It'll be fun. And so we'll do the Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse next.
Cool. So we'll go to the lovely ladies first who have been joining us. Sam, first, do you have anything you want to plug? Anything cool online that we could link to that you like?
No, not really. But I do
Do you want
appreciate you
people to come
having
visit
me. But no, nothing that I'm personally attached to. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Lee.
I guess my next one to plug in would be Maxwell Star. I'm in his beer reviews every Wednesday, so those are live ones. And sometimes Lee's there, so definitely something worth checking out. We have lots of fun. We drink beer, we review it, and I give my uneducated opinion on these beers that I try.
You do all right. Daniel, where can we find you on the interwebs?
I am on Twitter. You can find me at Daniel E. Harper. I sometimes talk about movies, but mostly I'm talking about lately the Odell Runes of the on CPAC, which is not an Odell Rune. Anyway, I do a podcast called I Don't Speak German because I don't speak German. But that's a podcast. It's about the modern day neo-Nazi movement and the far-right dipshits that inhabit it. And they hate me because I reveal all the connections that they have to each other that they don't want revealed. And that's what I do. It's a fun show. We the most recent one we just did a bonus episode, which you can access if you go to my Patreon and pay me $1 a month, or pay my co-host $1 a month, one or the other. We just did a bonus episode about The Third Man, the 1949 film. with Orson Welles, although we barely discussed the film at all.
Yeah, you barely did, but it was so good.
Yeah, we mostly talked about the post-war Vienna and the pandemic response and the kind of socioeconomic realities therein. So in the next bonus episode, the bonus episodes are usually movie episodes. The next one is going to be Bob Roberts. Jack and I have already discussed that. So, but yeah, we got some good episodes coming up this month. So check us out.
Talk about those damn Nazis masturbating in washrooms.
Yeah, we do have some masturbating Nazis occasionally, mostly crying Nazis.
Yeah, mostly crying because they do a lot of that too. Before I get into our plugs for the main podcast, by the way, Sam, totally welcome back anytime you want to come back. It was really fun to have you. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great.
That was a lot of fun. I've never done anything like this, so it was super fun. Yeah.
I actually find it hard to believe you did not do anything like this before because
never before. So I thought this is exciting. I just really I don't watch movies well. I have to say, like I said, I do it in 20-minute intervals. But
she did it.
Hey,
she did. No, you did.
No,
you did.
I think you guys are super easy to chat off of and all that. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Lee and I've been doing this for 6 years or something now. So
yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I think you guys are super easy to talk off of, and I really appreciate that. You made me feel super welcome and super easy to talk to. So you made it easy. So.
Cool. Well, you're welcome back anytime. So
thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can find us at tmbdos.podbean.com, where you can find our Apple podcast, YouTube, Facebook links. Join the Facebook group. Best way to get in touch with us and recommend movies, criticize us, all that fine bullshit. And until next time, thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you very much, Daniel. And thank you very much for everyone listening. And we will be back when we're back. Goodbye.
Be
Thank you for listening to They Must Be Destroyed on Sight. For further episodes, our Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube links, please go to tmbdos.podbean.com. Thank you. Drive through.